Hey everyone, Matt here on another edition of Ask Ron. Ron, how you doing today?
I'm peachy, man. I'm peachy. Our weather is gorgeous out here right now. It's getting into the time of year that I like. We don't have to sweat much.
That's right, and all the mosquitoes are almost gone,
We
thankfully.
don't have mosquitoes in Florida. That's a myth.
All right, Ron, we got quite a few questions today, so
Okay.
we'll go ahead and jump right into them. The first few, to say the least, are from Tony and Angie Stewart out in Ohio.
You good old Tony and Angie. How many we got from them today?
We have 9 questions from Tony and Angie.
Hey, guys, were you guys paying attention in the boot camp for crying out loud? All right, we love the questions. I'm just kidding.
Absolutely. Keep them coming in. All right, our first question is, some folks in my RIA group are offering the sellers a piece of the action if the house appreciates beyond a certain amount before they are cashed out. This is obviously being done to get past seller reluctance. What do you think of this practice?
I wouldn't even consider it. Besides, them houses aren't going to go up in the very near future, so it's kind of a moot point anyway. If anything, they're going to go down. But I don't want anything to do with the seller after I buy the house, period. If I owe them a payment, that's it. But I don't need their permission to do anything, and I certainly don't want to crawl in bed with them, period. Not me.
All right. You heard it, guys. Moving on to their next question. They say, I have really appreciated the opportunity to attend those course updates you have done this year, such as a cash flow system, work for equity, land trusts, and I immediately upgraded to the VIP each time. I was too late to plan it run for the finding quality leads one, but I have it now and love it. Outside of the summit in December, when is the course update event you have? When is the next course update event you have planned?
I don't have one planned. The courses that change over time, like generating leads and so forth, I update more often. The courses like wholesaling, we wholesale houses today the same way we did 10 years ago, but I updated it anyway. We did add some stuff to it. The term course doesn't change much either. A few odds and ends, but it's not worth me trying to create a whole new course over it. So usually I just update the courses that I've already got instead of having to tape a whole new one. So I don't have any plan right now. If you give me a break, I just got through with them a couple of months ago. Look, I'm old, man.
It's all right. Look young as ever. All right. Their next question is, once as master students, we have Bob Bloom's established our structuring. Which local professionals should we have in place to answer situational questions as we proceed with our real estate investing career?
Okay, well, you're going to Bob Bloom. That really has nothing to do with investing in real estate. It's more estate planning and tax reduction and entity structure, so forth. So you're going to need a real estate closing attorney to handle your real estate questions, and you're going to have to find one of them locally. And I promise you, if you ask Vina, I promise you, Vina knows. And if she doesn't, she has to know, because there's got to be lawyers in her group that are there basically to get your business, and that's a good place to start.
All right, there you go, guys. Moving on to their next question. They say, I am so enjoying your course on finding quality leads, and we have started getting quality leads using some of those vendors. I appreciate the relationship you have with these vendors. In passing, you had mentioned a company that you use to collect rents. Who is that company, and do you have a special link for them?
Escrow, it's in your boot camp manual, guys, back there under resources. It's called Escrow Serve, ESCROSERV, I believe, .com. They will collect rent or an incoming payment, pay the underlying loan, and drop the difference in whatever account that it goes in for $15 a month and a $50 setup fee the last time I talked to them, which has been quite a while ago.
Perfect. There you go, guys. It's in your manual. Moving on to the next question. They say, when it comes to my VA, how often should I be in touch with them? I want to respect their time, but I don't want them to think that I don't care.
Well, first of all, they'll never think that, but remember, the more time you spend with them, the bigger your bill is going to get. So that probably ought to answer your question. Okay. I don't know why you need to talk to them, frankly, unless something's wrong. You're going to email them your instructions. And most of the things you do are going to be by email. So I can't think of a reason to talk to them unless you think they can fix something that you think is broke. And that's when you do want to talk to them. But even then you can do it by email. So I guess that answers that question.
Absolutely. All right. Their next question kind of follows up with the VAs. They say, when I connect with my VA, what are things I should discuss? My numbers, my lead sources, any other recommendations?
You should discuss if you got the dream system, which I know you do, they're going to put all your lead sheets and the progress of them right on there. So I would guess you'd want to discuss with them what they can and won't do for you. But, that's part of the upfront orientation call to begin with. So just remember their job is on that list that's in your boot camp manual, and they're not going to branch off and do other things. For example, we've had people ask us, can your VAs just cold call a list if we send them the list? The answer is no. Our VAs will only talk to sellers who are known to have a house for sale that either we generated the lead or you generated it. We don't do cold calling. Nick does that for you, if you remember. And he's also in your manual under more sources where all of the things you're going to use to generate sellers are. But I don't know. You'll know when it's time to talk to your VA. I wouldn't even worry about it unless you got an issue you want to talk to them about. Now, you do need to tell them what you want them to do for you, but even that can be done by email.
Perfect. All right. We have 3 more questions from Tony and Angie. Their next one is, what are your thoughts on getting a memorandum of agreement recorded after we get a signed purchase and sales agreement? This would be to cloud the title until closing.
I don't do it. I just don't do it because I'm not worried about what the seller's going to do. If I got a contract, I got a contract, and they try to beat me out of it. I'm no stranger to litigation. I'll have an attorney write them a nice little letter to stop, and that'd be the end of it because they know they're breaching their own contract. But you're worrying about things that aren't going to happen. So makes the case to get it closed as fast as you can after you get the contract signed. And that's what you should be focusing on doing. I don't even record a memorandum.
All right. There you go, guys. Moving on to the next question. They say, what are your thoughts on whether we should get the seller's online access to their mortgage info when we're doing a subject to? And if so, should we immediately then change the password so that it helps the seller not log in and get ideas?
The answer is yes. You want to change the passwords after you get access to it, or do it with seller's help if necessary. I'm doing that right now as we speak. We're closing on one. We're closing on one today. What am I saying? And we not only we got them to. There's a letter there's a form that the closing agent needs to fill out in order for you to get the escrow proceeds, which is in your manual when you do cash out of it. There's another form that I asked them to create to give us permission to pay the bank directly and not pay the seller. And what was the question they asked about? I forgot.
So should we then change the password?
Oh, yeah. You absolutely must get access to their account. In fact, Tish is doing that. Did it yesterday, I think. And yeah, I'd change the password if it was me. But remember, the bank don't know you and they can't deal with you. So be careful of what you ask the bank to do. Of course, changing the password, not asking them to do anything. So yeah, I don't know. I'm sure she does change the password, but I don't care if the seller accesses their own account anyway. Why do I would care? It just shows that we're making the payments when we're supposed to. Doesn't bother me any.
All right. Come to our last question from Tony and Angie. They say, when we are lease optioning, are there any guidelines on how much we should ask in terms of rent credits?
Yeah, 0. When you're selling. Well, maybe you're talking about when you're buying. Again, we discussed this in class, guys. The amount of money that I'm going to ask for rent credit is going to depend on how much equity the seller's got above their loan at the bank. If they have no equity and I'm leasing it for what they owe, obviously I can't get them to give me a rent credit. They don't have anything to give me credit from. They don't have any equity. So it's 0. If, however, let's say I owe them $50,000 in addition to the when I'm paying off the bank loan, that they're still 50 grand, I'm gonna get about $500 a month from them. I'm gonna get all I can from them without being ridiculous. Think about it. $500 a month is $6,000 a year credit toward that 50 grand that you owe them in addition to the loan. So just use your best judgment on that. Don't go crazy, but do what you think is fair. I don't know. You might say, by my examples, I guess it's about 1%. See, 1% of 50,000 is 500, right?
Sounds about right.
Sounds about right. You don't know either, do you? Okay. So just use maybe the 1% rule, since I just made that up because you asked. But again, though, I'm down here and they got $10,000 more coming. I'm not going to go past $200 a month, and I guess that's more than 10%. So just use your own judgment. Okay.
Perfect.
So is that all for Tony and Angie?
That's all for Tony and Angie. We have
Okay.
2 more questions of the day.
All right, but now, Tony and Angie, it's your turn. I'm going to ask you to do something for me. I want you to email us and tell us what you're doing that's getting you the leads that you discussed going into this thing. I need to follow up to find out how this stuff is working for y'all. And we're doing the same thing right now. I'm exploring new lead sources. And we get to the master's retreat here coming up shortly. I'm going to have even a couple more to add to it. And I am personally spending my money testing these vendors, and the results of that will be at the master's retreat as well. I'm buying houses. All right. It's not a game to me. I'm not an old guy that doesn't buy houses anymore. So I've got to do the same things you got to do. And it's my obligation actually to test more and more to find the best of the best. So give me some input. All of you listening, give me some input. If you got something that's working, let us know. I promise we won't tell anybody who lives in your city. No, I'm not promising that either. Okay.
All right. Our next question is from Robert up in Oregon.
Okay.
Robert says, "Hey Ron, by chance, do you plan to include a networking link on your Gold Club webpage so that Gold Club members can either leave their names and contact information, such as name, email, and phone number, so that other Gold Club members can contact them to partner up with them on future deals or maybe get help from them?"
I think that's what the forum does. That's where you communicate with the people that are Gold Club members. It's on the forum up there at the top. Just press on forum, and that's where you get to swap lives with each other.
All right. There you go, Robert. And we finally come to our last question of the day.
Okay.
This one's from Gypsy out in California.
All right.
Gypsy says, "Which agreement is used for a subject to deal? Is it just a standard purchase and sales agreement, or is it something else?"
No, it's standard purchase and sales agreement. Now, remember, if they're in foreclosure, that's a different agreement. They got a 3-day right of rescission, and there's some 12-point type that has to be put in it. You're going to have to get that from your local title company or real estate, or a skilled investor that's got one. So if they're not in foreclosure, use my agreement for your first deal. Run it by your attorney and see if the attorney wants to add anything to it. Don't let him take much out of it. Don't let him take anything out of it, but he can add to it whatever he wants to satisfy him. And then going forward, you'll have that information. But you don't even go meet with an attorney to see if your agreement is okay. Just get the dumb thing signed. Anything needs to be fixed can be fixed before closing or at closing. And then from then on, you're home free. Okay? Is that it?
That's all we have for today.
Well, golly, that was easy. Good thing Tony and Angie came along. We wouldn't have much to do today. All right. Okay. All right, guys. I'll see you next week. This same time, same channel. Go make some deals. We're running out of time.